In 1981, an engineer named Mel Bartholomew published a gardening book that told millions of people to grow their vegetables in 6 inches of soil. The book sold over 2.5 million copies. It launched a movement, and that 6-inch recommendation became gospel for an entire generation of gardeners. But here is what Bartholomew never accounted for. A tomato plant, given decent soil and room to grow, will send its roots over 4 feet into the ground. In a 6-inch raised bed, that same tomato has access to roughly 12% of the root space it actually wants. And it is not just tomatoes. Lettuce, the crop everyone assumes is shallow, can root 6 feet deep in open soil. Carrots and beetroot push root systems down 10 feet. Even a tiny kohlrabi plant sends roots over 8 feet underground. So why is almost every raised bed guide on the internet still telling you 6 to 12 inches is enough? Because the standard was never based on plant science. It was based on lumber. A 2x6 board is 5.5 inches tall. Stack 2 of them and you get 11 inches. That is where the 12-inch standard comes from. Not from root biology, not from yield research, from the dimensions of wood at the hardware store. And cost plays a huge role too. Filling a 4x8-foot bed at 18 inches deep requires roughly 50 cubic feet of soil. At 12 inches, that drops to 32. At 6 inches, just 16. Soil is usually the single biggest expense in building a raised bed, often more than the lumber itself. So gardeners build shallow, and the plants pay the price. Now let me show you what the actual science says, because this is where it gets really interesting. In 1927, researchers John Weaver and William Bruner at the University of Nebraska did something nobody had done before. They dug trenches 5 to 11 feet deep next to mature vegetable plants, then carefully excavated and mapped every single root. That study, nearly 100 years old, is still the most comprehensive root depth data set we have. And what they found is stunning. A 2-month-old tomato transplant already had roots at 3 feet. By late summer, roots reached 52 inches. Peas went down 3 feet. Beans hit nearly 4 feet. Cabbage roots extended over 5 feet into the ground. These are not exotic plants. These are the same vegetables sitting in your garden right now. They want to go deep, and when they cannot, they suffer. A landmark meta-analysis published in 2012 by Poorter and his team looked at 65 independent studies on how root volume affects plant growth. The finding was clear. Doubling the available root space increased plant biomass by an average of 43%. Not a small bump. Nearly half again as much plant. And the mechanism is fascinating. Restricted roots do not just run out of room. They actually reduce the rate of photosynthesis in the leaves above. The whole plant slows down. For tomatoes specifically, research published in the journal Agronomy found that root restriction cut total yield by 29%. A separate study in Scientia Horticulturae measured a 41% yield drop. That is real food you are leaving on the table. But there is a twist, and I love this. Those same restricted tomato plants produced fruit with 35% more sugar and nearly double the lycopene compared to unrestricted plants. So a smaller bed grows fewer tomatoes, but each one tastes better. It is a genuine quality versus quantity trade-off that nobody talks about. For peppers, root restriction reduced yield by about 23% in a controlled study. Same pattern. Less fruit, slightly better flavor, but a meaningful loss in total harvest. If you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. I cover the real science behind better gardening every week. Now let's talk about what is happening with temperature and water inside your raised bed, because this is the part that surprised me the most. At 1 inch below the soil surface, daily temperature swings can hit 30 degrees Fahrenheit on a summer day. But at 12 inches deep, that swing drops to just 2 degrees. That is a 15-fold reduction in temperature stress. Why does this matter? Because root damage for common vegetables starts above 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 82 Fahrenheit. On a hot afternoon, bare soil at the surface of a shallow raised bed can reach well over 40 degrees Celsius. There is nowhere for those roots to hide. In a deeper bed, the lower portion stays cool and stable all day long. It acts like a built-in climate buffer. Your plant's roots can retreat to that cooler zone, keep absorbing water and nutrients, and avoid heat shutdown. And then there is the water situation. A standard 4x8 foot bed, filled with a good loam and compost mix, holds roughly 20 gallons of available water at 6 inches deep. At 12 inches, it holds 40 gallons. At 18 inches, 60 gallons. Triple the depth, triple the water reserve. In practical terms, a 6-inch bed in peak summer needs watering every 1 to 2 days. An 18-inch bed of the same footprint can go 4 to 7 days between waterings. That alone is worth the extra soil. Underground, deeper beds support a richer biological world too. Research published in Soil Biology and Biochemistry found that 35% of total microbial biomass in soil exists below 10 inches. A 6-inch bed misses all of it. Studies on mycorrhizal fungi, those beneficial networks that extend a plant's root reach by 10 to 100 times, show that over half their biomass sits below 12 inches. Earthworms, the gardener's best friend, need at least 12 inches of quality organic soil before endogeeic species, the ones that actually build soil structure, can establish. Deeper beds resist compaction better, maintain drainage longer, and develop more stable microbial communities over years. So what should you actually build? If you can choose one depth for a general vegetable garden, make it 18 inches. That accommodates nearly every common crop, provides excellent temperature and moisture buffering, and gives your soil biology room to develop properly. If budget is tight, 12 inches on open ground works well, especially if you do one simple thing before placing the bed. Fork or dig the native soil beneath to a depth of another 12 inches. This is called the double depth method, and it essentially gives your plants 24 inches of root access without a single extra board. Utah State Extension specifically recommends loosening the soil 6 to 12 inches beneath any raised bed before filling. For beds sitting on concrete, patios, or any hard surface, go deeper. Those roots cannot escape downward, so the bed depth is the entire root universe. 24 inches minimum for fruiting crops. And if cost is the main barrier to going deep, consider a hugelkultur base. Burying logs, branches, and leaves in the bottom third of a deep bed reduces your soil fill cost by 40 to 50%. The wood acts as a slow-release moisture sponge and breaks down into rich humus over time. Just make sure you keep at least 12 inches of quality growing soil on top. Here is the crop-by-crop summary to take with you. Lettuce, spinach, radishes, and most herbs genuinely perform fine in 6 inches. Garlic, onions, strawberries, and kale need at least 12. Carrots, peppers, cucumbers, beetroot, beans, and brassicas need 18. And tomatoes, squash, pumpkins, watermelon, and corn need 24 or more to reach their full potential. The depth of your raised bed is not a detail. It is the single most important decision you make before a seed ever goes in the ground. Get it right, and everything else, the watering, the feeding, the harvest, gets easier. If you want to know exactly how to fill a deeper raised bed without spending a fortune, that video is on screen now. I will see you there.